Hello, good morning. Welcome to Business Focus program run by Poland Weekly. Today we are going to talk about very interesting topic, investments, but especially in the manufacturing sector. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Iwona Chojnowska-Haponik from JLL, Business Consulting Director JLL, who has a global perspective. You are based in Poland, but actually you cover a lot of different markets. So it will be really interesting to see where Poland stands in this area compared to other European, but also non-European markets. And I think the context of our conversation is also your latest report, Made in Poland, which you conducted with several partners, looking at the taxes, at the labor market, at the real estate market, so covering very comprehensive different topic, important for the companies that potentially consider Poland as the top future destination for their investments. So maybe let's start with the key conclusions from this Made in Poland report, where we are today as Poland with their investments in the manufacturing sector.
So very good morning. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm very proud and happy to be here today and cover the latest report released by JLL and partners like Alto, like Polish Trade and Investment Agency, like Hayes Recruitment Company. We believe that this report can enlighten companies that still are on the verge of making the decision about where to locate their manufacturing operations. It's not an easy task nowadays, especially that every country wants to be attractive and lures potential investors with either incentives or praising strong points of their value proposition. But I believe that Poland is a unique place on the map of potential investment destination.
So in general, starting maybe with the investment and flows, where is Poland with it?
In recent years, the flow of foreign direct investments has been going up and down. So it was quite unstable period starting
But in Poland or in general?
In general, globally. Starting with COVID-19, then followed by a war in Ukraine. All of those aspects had an impact on the willingness of companies to go and invest elsewhere than in their home countries. Poland, it's not a surprise because it has always been like this, was crisis resistant in terms of both COVID-19 and war in Ukraine. Poland defended itself splendidly, attracting a lot of investors into manufacturing, but also business services type of operations, with a bigger focus, however, on manufacturing and R&D type of activities. So coming back to the latest statistics, the steady flow shows us that Poland attracts around 30 billion euros of investment annually, which is the best result in this part of Europe, very strong position in the European Union, and even globally, Poland starts to be recognized as a very attractive destination for manufacturing of companies, among others.
Great. I mean, of course, we have to discuss both opportunities and challenges, but maybe let's go through the structure also, which reflects your report. So let's start with the location itself.
There are several, I would say, aspects of Polish value proposition, starting with this location of Poland in the heart of Europe, at the crossroad, because connecting north with south, but also west with east. And Poland itself is a big market of almost 38 million of inhabitants. So not only surrounding countries or access to big markets like European Union of 450 million of inhabitants, but also Poland as such attracts a lot of businesses to supply their products locally. Location is very important, but if you do not have sufficient infrastructure, it won't fly. Hence, it is as a natural step to talk a little bit about the quality of infrastructure. And here Poland should not be shy. We are very well connected with the rest of Europe and the world. World because air transport is supported with 14 airports, international airports, of which 7 are cargo airports, which obviously offers investors opportunity to ship their products to any destinations from the country. There is a very dense railroad infrastructure of 20,000 kilometers. I would say it's one of the most developed railroad infrastructures across Europe. Not to mention state-of-the-art quality of highways and expressways. And seaports, let's not forget them. They are very important, especially right now when a lot of raw materials and products come from Asia, from other parts of Europe, and are shipped to North America, for example. Hence, Poland with 5 seaports, 2 of them recognized worldwide, so Gdańsk and Szczecin, already a significant point for many investors. So we covered location, we covered infrastructure, but there is much more to it. And my preferred, or the point that I'm always underlining is human capital. Mm-hmm. And I don't hesitate to say capital, because truth is that Poles with great qualifications, very good technical skills, a lot of experience in international businesses are an asset that is recognized by companies.
But this is actually an interesting point, yeah, because I can assume that most of the newcomers, especially in the manufacturing sector, will develop their facilities with the high-tech AI robotics. Of course. And I'm wondering how much this, human capital from the perspective of the potential new investors is really something
needed. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. The working population needed to run operations will shrink, because for automatization and much more advanced type of operations that companies are running. But these machines, these robots, all of that needs to be ruled and managed by people. Mm-hmm. And this is why I mentioned good qualifications, but also great education of Poles.
And technical skills.
Technical mm-hmm. skills that enable them to be really what companies do need. So mm-hmm. the quality rather than mass of blue collars available mm-hmm. on the market. Hence, I'm of the opinion that this market is very much what the companies do need right now. So skilled, with technical skills, speaking languages. This is important because majority of international companies still do use English as a lingua franca in mm-hmm. their premises, but any other language, German or any other language that we can add to it is an asset, and that's exactly the case. Plus flexibility of Poles and creativity and entrepreneurship spirit, many aspects that make Polish employees so well recognized. And I remember back in time, companies were bringing a lot of expats to Polish factories. Right now, there is an opposite trend. Mm-hmm. So a lot of Poles that used to manage Polish factories are sent abroad as a beacon, as a kind of guidance, how to manage operations abroad and how to manage efficiently operations. So I really honestly do believe that we can show how Poland grew over the years and what value it brings to foreign businesses.
Okay.
So we spoke about people.
Yes, so I think something that always is a thing recognized, and people ask about stability of taxes, also government incentives, because this is also something that can at the end of the day, when, for example, some big companies are pitching, I think that this is something that you put at the table.
Of course, I always say that this is the cherry on the cake, mm-hmm. And it should not be the main driver for companies to locate in a given location. It used to be a trend before of buying investment, but very quickly countries realized that the businesses that were lured by money were low cost margin companies, and their presence on the market was not really sustainable.
Maybe not that impactful also for the economy.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So they got the money, they use it up, and very quickly they looked for other cheaper markets. This is not what we want to promote as being the main asset of Poland. On the contrary, we want to show that you have the best quality for a still reasonable price. Hence, we will not buy every single investment that comes to the country. There is a quite, I would say, comprehensive investment attraction policy implemented by the government, but also by Polish Trade and Investment Agency that is helping investors set up in Poland. And we really want state-of-the-art type of manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, high-tech manufacturing. So all the benefits that come along with this type of operations, rather than pay for, I don't know, many job places or presence, right? Mm-hmm. Or brands sometimes. So yes, incentives are important. It is good to have a portfolio of incentives that can be offered to companies, but they should be tailor-made. So we hear more and more from the investors that we are helping. All right, but I would like to train my employees. Yes, there is an instrument that can support training of your employees, which is great. I am spending a lot in assets, automation, robots, etc. It costs a lot. Can you offset somehow my cost of investment? Yes, we have investment grants. Plus everything that relates to R&D. I am happy to invest in R&D, but do you have infrastructure? Do you have academic centers that could support these activities? Money is nice, but I need to have partners. I need to have a grown up and flourishing business environment and academic environment to be able to really fulfill what are my expectations and goals. It should be a win-win always. So you bring something, we give you something. So not just we give you and just come. On the contrary.
And is this approach gaining a popularity? Because
yes.
I think it's country by country. I can see that within many nationalities it's very different. You sit with some companies from some countries, like, I don't know, the Netherlands, and they know that, the goal is to create a win-win. With someone else, it can be different. So.
Well, my team is covering more than just Poland and even more than just CEE. It's a European or EMEA region remit, going sometimes even beyond, because Poland is no longer competing only and exclusively with Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary. No, we are very often benchmarked with countries like Vietnam or some countries in South America. So there is a much broader view. And some countries are very blunt. We don't want you. We simply don't want you because you're not bringing add value. You're polluting. You're not creating valuable job places for highly skilled people. You're not in line with ESG requirements. You're not helping grow your staff. And they know, and they're not really shy to say that we don't want you, or maybe there are other countries that would love to host you. And I guess that this understanding of needs and very specific focus on the industries that really work in a given country is a key for the success.
So strategic thinking.
Absolutely. You cannot do everything and anything. It must be targeted. Then you can create instruments. You can amend your educational system, for example, if you want. I want to focus on biotechnology. Then obviously you need to encourage from the very little childhood kids that they should follow that path. And there are options for those people to learn and then support development of this type of operations.
And does Poland have this, specific sectors that are actually key for the economy, but also create this win-win for the businesses that set up here?
I think so. Well, Poland has a big advantage that there is a lot of various industries developed across the country. We have never been a monoculture. Unlike our immediate neighbors, Czech Republic and Slovakia focused mostly on automotive industry, which retaliated at some point because they had a lot of problems with their exports in the time of crisis. Poland has 17, if I remember correctly, main manufacturing sectors. I would say equally big. Obviously, there are sectors like automotive, for example, or steel mining, right, that are of utmost importance and are hiring or are still having a lot of employment. But truth is that other industries are growing quite quickly, exponentially. For one, because there are foreign investors like LGES, for example, that pushed Poland towards everything that is related to electric vehicles. But also skills of people or their experience in Poland, like it was the case of Intel. Intel has a huge R&D hub, technology hub in Gdańsk for 3,000 people. The fact that they already operate in the country and they know what is the quality of people was a tipping point to establish or to think about establishing manufacturing operations. So all of that.
So semiconductor is also a sector that is developing. I think, especially in the Pomerania, wants to be a leader in this.
Even though the choice of Intel is to go southwest, right, near Wrocław, but it explains itself. It's self-explanatory, especially that it will be a partnership between Poland and the factory that the company will at the very same time establish in Germany, Magdeburg. So they cooperate to some extent, but they will have a backing of this R&D center in Poland. So yeah, EV, everything that relates to EV, everything that relates to semiconductors. Still automotive is one of the industries, especially that the sector has to change completely its vision of development because of electric vehicles, parts that are being very expensive for those electric vehicles, smaller number of parts that are needed for electric car. Huge competition from North African, for example, countries that can produce cheaper. All of that, and people don't want to pay more for EVs. You know that there is a reluctance to follow that path and to overpay, right? So all of that requires a lot of strategical thinking and reorganization of the current activities to cope up with the challenges of this industry. But there are also traditional industries that are growing quite nicely, like food processing. It is omnipresent. It is covering not only Polish market, but also a lot of products are being sold abroad. Chemical industry, fine chemical industry, that is also something that maybe not many Poles do know that we are excelling at. Apart from manufacturing, there are obviously services growing exponentially. Just to give you the example, last year, our National Bank of Poland released statistics on foreign direct investment, and the split between the sectors changed dramatically. Before it was manufacturing, mostly, exceeding 50%. Right now, it dropped to 31%. Does it mean that Poland is no longer attractive for manufacturing investments? No, I would say the other way around. There are other sectors that are nicely growing, also thanks to manufacturing, like R&D.
Home appliances is also a nice, right? Example that they started as a typical manufacturers, but now a lot of those companies have their shared services around, right?
So all of that, I would say that this is a spin-off effect, right? Start with manufacturing, go towards shared services covering Europe or even globally, and then R&D. So the crème de la crème, something that we want to attract, and we want those factories to be supplemented by development of products, not customization, not something very simple, but really good product quality that can be, sold abroad, and finally we will have our brand as made in Poland, right? And that's exactly the title of the report that we released.
Yeah, so we discussed location, costs, governmental support. I'm wondering if there is anything, else worth considering, or maybe, especially that you represent JL, maybe the real estate offer.
Absolutely.
Last but not least.
Of course, it's impossible. Even if the country is the greatest place on earth, if you do not provide companies with decent real estate options, there is no investment. As simple as that. And Western European countries, to name a couple, Belgium or the Netherlands, cannot compete for investment that require big plants, big chunks of land. Poland still does have land plots that exceed 100 hectares, which is really something extremely important for companies. And these are not only greenfield options. There are opportunities for developers to help companies cope with all the investment process, and shorten it and make it much more simple. So you do not need to buy the land, then have the general constructor, etc. You can convey this process to the developer and make it shorter, make it more cost efficient, supervise it rather than be involved in the whole process. So not only Poland is the 6th largest market for European for industrial real estate, but also is still competitive in terms of, for example, lease costs. So yes, there is a lot of plots, private and public. It depends what the companies want. Asian companies do prefer to bet on public sides rather, while Western European countries, Americans, are looking for private plots, easy to buy without tendering procedures. So, everyone can find whatever they need. So yes, real estate market is also in great shape and offering flexibility, cost and good quality.
So maybe coming back to the end of our conversation, just to summarize a little bit, of course, we know that in terms of the challenges after COVID, what is sometimes a challenge can be opportunity. In the case of Poland, this nearshoring is visible, and this is something what we expect. But on the other hand, I would say that, of course, we see that this growing, of course, we got used a little bit to the higher energy prices. So that's something that is as
obvious.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
But then these labor costs, which are still growing. And is it something that when you talk to the investors and, for example, they look at the cost of the employees, is it something that make them maybe consider even further locations, or still, at least looking at the European market, we are attractive?
It depends. It's company by company, sector by sector. What is the main driver? When it is cost, yes, there are cheaper locations. But how long they can keep this investor in place, we don't know. Probably a couple of years, and then they will move to other, even cheaper locations. And I think that Poland is no longer perceived as a low-cost country. So there is no disappointment when we show numbers. This happiness ratio, cost quality, is on plus for Poland. So definitely, I think that companies very much aware of what they can expect in Poland are not surprised, and they don't say, no, I will go to. I don't want to quote any country because every country has its merits, but yeah, in southern part of Europe. Hence, I don't think that this is something that is surprising us anymore. Obviously, costs are rising, but they are rising everywhere. Even more in countries that are of smaller scale. Poland is still 16 million people in the labor force, which is a huge potential, plus 1 million foreign nationals. I'm absolutely optimistic that we can follow that trend and leverage on the newcomers.
So let's hope that these trends will keep up, and Poland, with its self-confidence and being, sure where to place and where to attract new investments in which sectors that will be good for the new businesses that come to Poland, but also for the Polish economy.
Absolutely, and let's keep our fingers crossed for that.
Thank you very much, Iwona.
Thank you, my pleasure.